Hi, I'm Peter Webster from F&B magazine. Today we have a really interesting job. We've got to test the first of the 15 horsepower Parsun two-stroke outboards that have just arrived from China, and needless to say there's a lot of discussion about them in the trade. Our job is to find out how good they are, how they perform. Today we're going to run the fuel consumption trials with F&B's unique fuel metering bottles. Ruth's going to run you through the salient features of the outboard, and we'll put it all together and have a really close look at how good these Chinese outboards are.
It's a 15 horsepower two-stroke, so it's quite a lot lighter. We've discovered this already when we lifted it on the dinghy. It's about 36 kilos, which is quite good for a 15 horsepower. The normal sort of fuel fittings that we're familiar with, fuel line, red tub, and we'll see how it all goes. Kill switch, same as usual, just pop that on there. Then we've got the throttle, just for same as usual, plus throttle adjustment, which is quite good. Steering adjustment under here, choke, forward, neutral, reverse, the gear shift. We've turned the boat round so we can see the rest of the controls. The shallow water drive is what we're interested in. Just pop that up, it's quite easy. The motor's in the vertical position. To go to shallow water, just pull up, it's fairly easy. That's the shallow position 1, then shallow position 2, and then right up, as you can pull it up with one hand quite easily, and dropping it down, very simple. I think we're ready to go. Pretty nice.
Let's get out on the water and see how it goes. Launching with a two-stroke engine in itself is a bit controversial today because it's estimated by the year 2012 two-strokes won't actually be sold in Australia anymore because of the emission control. So what you're buying here is really an old-style two-stroke engine. In fact, it reminds me very much of the old Johnson 15 or the classic Yamaha 15. It's very similar in its feel, its look, the way it performs, how it sounds. It really is a basic engine that we've sort of known for years, and in some ways we've moved away from, because most outboards today are four-stroke, and although four-strokes can be heavier, they are a lot greener, cleaner, and use less fuel, all of which are key points for boat buyers. Other issues with the Chinese outboard concerns longevity. How long will it last? We don't know. We can test it today, we'll see how it performs, we'll see what its fuel consumption is, but how well it will last in the long term, or will it last as long as a Yami 15 or a Johnson, is really up for grabs. The only way we're going to find out is put them on the back of boats and use them in Australian conditions for the next couple of years. As you can imagine, this is very, very controversial in the boating industry, as the entrenched American and Japanese manufacturers are quite worried, not to say alarmed, about the ingress the Chinese manufacturers could make with outboards that are up to a third less in retail price than the motors that they've traditionally sold here. Our job today was to put it to the test, which we've done using the Horizon 3.55, a classic Australian tinny that is almost the perfect size for a 15 horsepower outboard. Now, two-strokes in these small outboards are still very, very popular because of one huge factor, and that's the weight of them. Most four-strokes of the 15 horsepower class weigh in the 50s and 60 kilos. This is only 36 kilograms, meaning I can actually lift it up off the transom and put it in the back of the four-wheel drive or on the back of the van bracket. The second part of it is, for most people, the issue of fuel consumption, and we all know four-strokes are more efficient, more fuel efficient than two-strokes, but it's all relative, isn't it? The difference between this two-stroke and anybody else's four-stroke is only about 20%. 20% is about that much in a two-stroke to a four-stroke, because the engines themselves hardly use any fuel. It comes back to the issue of weight. If you can't lift it onto the transom, who cares what the fuel consumption is, because you're not going to go boating. Is it any good? Well, we found out today that it is, quite frankly, right up there with the best of them. And as you'll see in the video, it performs extremely well. Now, we need to run it for 2 or 3 years before we can say to you with any certainty that this is as good as, you know, the other brand. But at first blush, looking at this very cynically, with a big question mark hanging over it, we have to say it performs very well, it's very well built, it's extremely well finished, it's got all of the toys we look for in an outboard motor, and the price is unbelievable.